So immediately my question was, how can this be legal?
I just think at some point you do have to cap that power.
Talking about paddles, illegal paddles, there's a plethora of them out there.
There's too many.
If the paddles got too powerful, we're just not playing the game anymore.
If you had the chance to play pickleball before the COVID boom, odds are your paddle looks something like this. Compare that to today's paddles, which are sleek, high-tech, and built for performance. But how did we get here? To understand why paddles are so different in 2025, we need to dial back the clock. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand how we got here, but you'll also know exactly how to keep up with the fast-paced pickleball of today. Since its conception, pickleball was primarily a leisurely sport, played in people's backyards and at some parks and country clubs across the US. Starting in the late 1960s, the growth of the sport was relatively steady throughout the turn of the 20th century. Due to the competitive nature of the sport, in 1980, the first composite paddle was designed by Arlen Paranto. And in 1984, the United States Pickleball Association was founded. After this point, pickleball saw very little innovation for over 30 years. Throughout this period, pickleball was primarily seen as an activity for PE in school, or as a leisurely game.
Hey everyone, it's Chris from Flaghouse, and this week I'm here with Colleen McCurry to look at some great activities to build up to playing the game of pickleball.
Pickleball is currently trending as the most popular sport growing in the United States. It's a paddle sport game for all ages. It's become very popular in schools, recreational programs, and senior communities. Come check it out and get in on the action.
That is until everything changed. In the 2010s, for whatever reason, pickleball started to increase in popularity in select regions across the country. And in order to satisfy this demand, tournaments for the game became more popular. This growth hinted at the bigger explosion to come, one that would soon reshape the sport entirely. By 2015, the USAPA reported over 10,000 members for the first time. Clearly at this point, there were many players across the country with the growing itch to compete. In 2016, the first US Open of Pickleball was held, where all the best players in the world came together to compete. All this together was the catalyst for the founding of the PPA in 2018. This is the moment where pickleball truly leveled up. The PPA marked the birth of pro pickleball, and it was really the first organization that did a good job of setting up tournaments all around the country. This was the beginning of a new era of the sport, one where pickleball wasn't just a fun activity, but a real sport where players were required to do whatever they possibly could to win. Part of this became finding the best possible gear to compete with. And the birth of the PPA also marked the beginning of performance paddles. This is where brands really started to take note of pickleball's growth, and the race to make the best paddle began. There was only one problem. In order to be deemed legal, the paddles needed to follow the USA Pickleball Association's proposed rules. You couldn't just grab a tennis racket and call it a pickleball paddle. This challenge forced the manufacturers to get creative, laying the groundwork for the cutting-edge designs we see today. Come 2020, the rising growth of pickleball coincided perfectly with the COVID lockdown. Seemingly overnight, millions of new players began picking up the sport, many of whom transitioned from nearby sports like tennis or table tennis. By the end of 2020, it was reported that over 4.2 million people had tried pickleball. This influx of players created an unprecedented demand for paddles, setting the stage for a major shift in equipment technology. 2021 marked the birth of carbon fiber paddles, and over the last 3 years, new generations of paddles have emerged. Gen 1, Gen 1.5, Gen 2, Gen 3, and now whispers of Gen 4. Without getting too much into the details, brands have spent the last 3 years pushing the limits of what paddles could do within the rules. Each year, new manufacturing technologies have surfaced, starting with cold press paddles, followed by injected edge foam paddles, and now hot pressed and Gen 3 paddles. These advancements have given players more power, more spin, and bigger sweet spots. There's only one problem. The original rules of the game were designed around paddles like this, remember? As you probably know, pickleball's fundamental strategy involves hitting softer shots into the kitchen area so that you can strategically set up an attack. Because of this, many rallies end up in dink battles. With older paddle technology, it was challenging to generate enough spin and power to attack unless the opportunity was perfect. However, with newer paddles, attacking is becoming easier and easier. While dinking is still common, it now makes more sense than ever to attack more frequently and embrace a more aggressive game style. This shift is redefining how pickleball is played at every level. In 2025, you'll see even more Gen 3 paddles, and the birth of Gen 4 could take things to a whole new level. The bottom line is that the banger playstyle, or the hard-hitting playstyle, is going to become more prevalent than ever. This will especially be noticeable at the 3.0 to 4.0 level, where playing recklessly carries fewer consequences. Against pros, attacking at the wrong times can lead to counterattacks and lost points. But at lower levels, aggressive play is more effective as opponents are less likely to counter successfully. So if you're a recreational player, and most likely you are if you're watching this video, you're the one who feel these changes the most. To help you stay ahead in this new era of power pickleball, I've put together a list of strategies and techniques that you need to keep up. So let's dive into them now. The first thing that you really need to know to thrive with carbon fiber paddles is how and when to use topspin. Without topspin, you won't be able to take advantage of new power paddles because all of your hard shots will sail long. Using topspin makes the ball drop quicker, and since the court isn't getting any longer, hitting harder will require using more spin. I'm not going to go into the technique of how to create the spin, but I have full videos on this topic if you need guidance. The next thing to understand is that using specific balls can have a big effect on the speed of the game. In 2021, the most popular balls in the game were the Franklin X40 and the Onyx DuraFast 40. By 2024, 2 new popular balls launched, the Selkirk S1 and the Vulcan V Pro Flight. In terms of power, the Franklin ball is the slowest, while the DuraFast 40 is the fastest. The Selkirk and the Vulcan ball fall somewhere in between. However, the Vulcan ball is known for its erratic skids and bounces, which favor a power play style. So if you're looking to offset the increasingly powerful paddles in the new year, it might make more sense to continue using Franklin balls. These are already the most popular for recreational play. Just keep in mind that combining power paddles with faster balls can result in a much quicker pace of play. Another essential skill for excelling in 2025 is improving your footwork. With the game getting faster, you'll need to prepare more quickly for every shot. To adjust, it's crucial to stay low with bent knees and on your toes. This position allows you to change direction more easily, which becomes vital as balls come at you faster. Second thing is that as you're moving forward, it makes sense to jump into this position as your opponents are about to hit the ball. This is called a split step. By doing this, you ensure that you're in the right position to react before your opponent hits the ball. If you don't do this, it becomes very easy for your opponents to wrong foot you, or as some call it, break your ankles. The last thing is that when you're moving forward on your return, it's now more important than ever to get in fast. With new power paddles, it's easier for players to tee off on their third shot, and if you don't get in quickly, they might be able to get it right at your feet. So make sure after your return, you run into the kitchen quickly, and you split step right behind the line. By making these adjustments, you keep up with the faster pace of play and maintain control in high pressure situations. So if you want to keep up, there's some specific moments on the court where you should consider being more aggressive. First is in the midcourt. After your third shot, whether it's a drop or a drive, it now makes more sense to be aggressive as you move forward. The most extreme example of this is the shake and bake, where you attack immediately after your third shot. Before, it was generally safer to use resets as you were moving forward to set up dink battles. But with today's paddles, a high ball is an invitation to attack from anywhere on the court. My advice to you is to experiment with this and see how it works out. Every player is different, and the midcourt's still a very vulnerable spot to be, so you have to be careful. Another opportunity to be more aggressive is during your third shot. You're probably already using third shot drives, but in 2025, it'll make sense to use them even more. With the added power and spin of modern paddles, third shot drives are safer than ever, and they can set you up for easier follow-up shots. In ideal situations, you can even create enough topspin to make the ball dip under the net. This creates a great opportunity to crash in and get more aggressive on the next shot. When it comes to the dink game, speed up should also become slightly easier with the new paddles. However, keep in mind that power paddles will also result in faster counterattacks, so you need to be prepared for the ball to come back at you even faster after you attack. Overall, you're going to have to prepare for faster hands battles where having quick reflexes is going to be more important than ever. Additionally, if you're ever playing a banger, you need to make sure that you can handle their power or else you become a prime banger target. Bangers love to repeatedly drive the ball at players who struggle to respond. So to avoid this, it's important to focus on 3 key adjustments. The first is that you need to maintain a strong ready position whenever they're hitting the ball. To do this, always make sure that you're set with your feet, your arms are up, and your grip is set to hit a forehand or a backhand volley. This position ensures that you're ready to react quickly to incoming shots. The second thing to focus on is that you need to use more compact swings. Having a big backswing can throw off your timing and make it harder to handle fast shots. So focus on using compact motions to maintain control. In order to do this though, you need to have a tight grip on the paddle. While in most shots in pickleball, you want to hold the grip loosely, when you're defending against power from the kitchen, this is the one instance where you want to maintain a firmer grip. By doing this, you'll actually increase the size of the sweet spot by reducing the paddle from twisting when you hit it slightly off center. The tighter grip will also mean that your paddle will give less from your opponent's power, making it easier to use your opponent's power against them. These techniques apply both when you're defending against drives from the back of the court and speed ups from the kitchen. While having the right technique will make a massive difference, probably the most important aspect of thriving in 2025 pickleball is having a paddle that will match the faster pace of play. As the saying goes, if you can't beat them, join them. If you're still using older paddle technology, in 2025 it'll be tough to compete. If you're looking for a paddle to help you keep up with the faster pace of 2025, I highly recommend the Banger. We designed it not just for creating power, but also for handling it. With its edgeless design, the Banger is more maneuverable than most paddles. This helps you react faster to hard shots. Also, the paddle is made to be extra forgiving so that the sweet spot is bigger and off-center hits don't die off the paddle face. If you need a paddle upgrade, the Banger is an amazing option for any player looking to thrive in 2025. And if you use code NEWYEAR, you can get the Banger for $20 off. And guys, as a quick announcement, after we made this video, the USAPA actually announced that they're banning 2 of the most popular Gen 3 power paddles on the market. So the full list of paddles they banned is right here. But all you need to know is that they banned the EULA mod, which is probably the most popular paddle on the market right now, and the Gearbox Pro Power Elongated. And the reason that these paddles are banned is because they break with the new PB core rule, which essentially means that a paddle can't have too much of a trampoline effect, which gives it too much power. So the paddles are too powerful, which takes away from the pickleball strategy that I talked about throughout this video. So as of July 1st, 2025, you're no longer going to be allowed to use those paddles in tournaments. And honestly, you should probably stop using them before that. And you probably shouldn't use them in rec play either, because it's unfair. It will give you an unfair advantage to use those paddles. So that's all you need to know. Be careful about what paddles you use, and always make sure they have the USAPA approved seal right here, or else they're illegal. Overall, all sports progress over time, players get better, and so does technology. Pickleball is no different. The one thing that remains constant is that if you want to compete at the highest possible level, you need to adapt to survive. And if you want to go over the new rules that are taking effect in 2025, watch this.